Hi everyone, this is Samantha from the Dancing Soap Dish, and today I'm sharing with you these absolutely stunning frozen heart melt and pour soap bars. So these are heart-shaped soap bars, and each of them has a different ice effect so that they look like they're frozen. So this one has like a cracked ice sort of look. Some of the others have sort of different ice crystal effects. And see, this one here also has a little bit of frost on the corner there of the heart, as well as some ice crystals in it. So each of these bars has a different technique applied to it. So this one's frosted all around the edge. I'm going to show you today how you can make all these different designs using the ice cracking melt and pour soap technique, which you might have seen other soap makers do on their YouTube channel. This is my version of them. As per usual, all the information you need is on the Dancing Soap Dish website, and there's a printable tutorial on there too. So let's get started, guys. I'm excited. Okay, so first off, you need 6 heart-shaped soap bars. I did record how I made these, but unfortunately my setup wasn't correct and the footage just wasn't able to be salvaged. So I'm just going to talk you through how I made these while I demold them. So this is an ultra clear melt and pour soap base. Any reputable melt and pour soap company should have an ultra clear base available. You can't really tell, but I've made 3 different colors of hearts. Each heart is 2.5 ounce or about 70 grams each. So what I did is I just weighed out 5 ounces of my ultra clear soap base. Then I scented it and tinted it very subtly with just a tiny bit of liquid soap base. I actually just dipped the end of a bamboo skewer into the liquid soap coloring and then stirred it through my soap and got this really sort of light tint here. This one is purple. And then I divided my 5 ounces of soap base between 2 of the heart-shaped cavities. So I've got 2 of each different color. I then repeated the process and made another 2 different colors. So it's 15 ounces of soap all up. So I have some clear purple, some clear green, and also some clear blue. Lots of people talk about how scenting your ultra clear soap base can make them cloudy. So these purple ones here I scented with Lavender Essential Oil. That's still quite clear. And these green ones are scented with Spearmint Essential Oil. They're very clear. And these ones are unscented. Okay, and they're quite clear too. So I don't think the essential oil in this case has clouded the bars any more than not using any scent at all. So that's good to know. The cracked ice technique that I'm using today requires piercing the soap. So I'm going to use a number of tools to get my different effects. I'm going to use a retractable craft knife, preferably with a narrow blade. I've got some clay tools here just for polymer clay or ceramics. There's all these lots of different amazing shapes here. So I'm just going to pick some out. I like this one. Going to see how that one goes. I also like this pointy one here. That's probably going to be a good tool to use. I also will pick out just some other more interesting ones. This one here has an interesting tip. It's not really focusing, but you can see there. And finally, I'm just going to use this sort of skewer-like shape here as well. So I'll pop those out of the way. I'll do every bar with a different tool to see what kind of different effects I can get. So I'll start with my retractable knife. I'm just pushing the blade out as far as I can because I want some really deep cuts. I'll start with this blue bar here. I'm going to very carefully, because this can be tricky, pierce the soap. It is a blade, so do be careful. You don't want to bend it too much either or it will snap and go flying. Oopsie, be careful. I'm just going to do some really deep cuts with the blade from all different angles. And I'm also doing it in all different directions. So I do want just a range of different piercings. Each time I pierce the soap, it sort of creates a different surface for the light to reflect off, and the more different shapes and sizes I have, the more reflective the light is going to be. So I'm even doing the back, pushing it in really deep, but not all the way through. Don't forget the bottom. There we go. Now I'm just going to retract my blade because I don't need it to be that long anymore. It's much safer now to use it. Retract it a fair bit. Okay, and I'm just going to do a few short cuts now after all my deep ones. As you can see, the more I work on it, the more interesting it's becoming. There we go. Look at that. Now what's really good is those cuts are really deep, so it's not going to wash off. So as you start to use the bar around the outside and everything, the cuts are still deep inside the bar, and so you'll have this effect for, you know, all the way through using the bar, which is really, really great. It's not going to wash off after one use. So there we go. I just gave one edge there a little bit of an extra treatment just to make it a little bit more crystallized. Okay, now let's try a clay tool. I might use green this time. So I really like how clear these bars are. They're beautiful and they smell great too. Spearmint, yum. So I'm just going to pierce again. As you can see, I'm twisting and turning the tool as I pierce. I'm going in the side because I find that you get a really good effect if you do it from the side. You can do it from the front and the back too, but there we go, done from the side. I've only done it in one particular direction, so now I need to go back and do it in a couple of different directions just to get it looking a little bit more interesting. There we go. I did some from the front too. This particular tool is actually causing quite a lot of damage to the side of the soap, way more than the sharp knife did, but that's okay. I'll show you how to fix that up later. I'm just going to do it down one side and maybe just a little bit on the edge here. So you don't have to break up the whole bar. You can just leave little bits blank just for interest's sake. It makes it look a little bit more interesting. I might also cut it just with my knife here just to get sort of like a crack through the middle, make that look a little bit interesting too. A few more indents here. There we go. So as you can see, this basic technique just involves piercing the soap, and the shape of whatever tool you use and the direction that you do it in is how you get the different effects. So you can see there, I've got one where I used a clay tool, one where I used a retractable craft knife, and I've got two sort of slightly different effects there. I'm really liking those. Let's go for the purple. I'm going to use this one here. It's sort of like an edging tool. It might not look that interesting, but I find what it does is it creates sort of what look like long ice crystal shards in your ice. So like as the frozen heart was freezing, these little sort of long ice crystals have formed, and I just find they're really interesting. It's really pretty how it catches the light in these sort of long dark strokes. So again, I'm sort of shredding up the side of my soap. That's okay, and that's another reason why I prefer to just pierce the side of the soap, not mess up the front too much. I'm pushing this all the way in as deep as I can go, and I'm getting some really interesting patterns here. Yeah, I really like that. Let's have a look. There we go. That's a nice one. Yeah. Well, maybe a couple more, and then that one should be done. I'll do the next purple one as well. I'm going to use this one here. So this sort of, the shape of this is sort of similar to the retractable craft knife. So I'm thinking I'm going to get a similar sort of look, except for the fact that this blade is much shorter and tapered at the end. So that's going to create some interest as well. But I'm just making sure that I pierce it, holding the blade both horizontally and vertically. You Can also rough up one edge, which makes it look a little bit interesting. There we go, that one's pretty. I like that too. Might do a little bit more around this side. Just trying to create some basic interest, something interesting. There we go. Okay, and I have my last tool here. This one is just sort of a long, thin, sort of skewer-like. And again, I find this just sort of portrays some very interesting sort of long ice crystals that have formed as the soap, well, sorry, as the heart has frozen. So I'm just going to pierce it in one direction and then cross it as well. That's coming along nicely. Yeah. Just as I go, just monitoring it. Might stick some in the back. It's really pretty, this green, I like it. And let's just see how this part of the tool goes. I've never tried this one before. Does it? Yeah, it's not really giving me an effect I want, and it's cutting up the soap quite a bit too, so I'll go back to using this long skinny one. There we go. I might even just shove this one in. So you can use multiple tools as well to create, you know, a soap that has a number of different shaped ice crystals in it or has a cracking effect. It's very interesting. All right, so I've got one left. There was one clay tool I actually forgot to take out, and it is this one here. So this one's like used for, you know, a grass effect or something. If you're making, you know, polymer clay things, you can just give it sort of like a rippled look. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pierce my soap with all these little fine pieces of wire. They are sort of bending out because soap is obviously much harder than polymer clay. So I will have to every now and then just stop and fix up my tool, just pull the bits of wire back into place. But this is giving me a really interesting sort of frosted effect. So like the heart is just starting to frost over. There's a little bit of frost just happening in a couple of places, especially around the edge. It's a bit hard to see from this far away, but I'll show you once I've finished. So if I just keep going all the way around the edge here, we'll be able to have sort of a little frozen heart that's just frosting over. It's a really cute little effect. I like it. Yeah, I'm having trouble with this tool, but that's okay. Some patience is required, but that's fine. It's relaxing. Sitting here poking stuff, it's a great way to get your frustration out. Okay. I'm really liking this effect. It's really lovely. It's a very subtle but sort of definitely icy looking. There's just a little bit of frost creeping in the sides of the heart as it starts to freeze over. So I really like that. I might actually put a little bit of frost on one of these too, just to make it a little bit more interesting. I might frost up this corner of the heart here. So gorgeous. Like I said before, these are just so much fun to use, whether you're in the bath or in the shower, because the effect lasts all the way through the soap bar and they're just beautiful. And when they're wet, they're even more clear and they're just stunning. The light reflects off them and they're just so pretty. They smell good too. All right, here we go. Okay, so I've done my 6 bars. I've done 6 different effects. There's a frosted one, there's an ice crack one. But they're all done by piercing the bars with different tools. So you can see, depending on what tools you've got around the house, you can see what sort of effects you can create. I'm going to show you now how to just clean them up a bit because some of the sides are a bit rough because of all the poking that's been done. So I'll show you how to do that next. So now I have some beautiful frozen heart soap bars, but I also have some pretty roughed up edges. So what I'm going to do is blanch the soap in order to sort of melt those edges down a bit and make them smooth again. So the first step is to just take my thumb or my finger and just smooth out the sides, push back in any of divots that are sticking out, or brush off any of the crumbs that are sort of hanging on, and just sort of get them as smooth as I can to touch. And then I'm going to blanch them in some boiling hot water to sort of seal all those holes shut and just give them a better finish, a shiny finish. So I'm using my isopropyl alcohol for that too. And because I am using very, very hot water, I am wearing a very thick pair of rubber gloves. So these are like washing up gloves because I need to protect my fingers from the hot water. Don't go sticking your fingers into boiling hot water. It's a really bad idea. Okay, so I have just boiled this water. It's literally just finished now, and I'm pouring it into just a stainless steel bowl that I have. So it is very, very hot. I'm filling it up all the way. And so the basic idea is just to dip the soap in very briefly. The hot water will melt sort of like the outer layer of it and sort of smooth it back up. Then I'm going to spray it with the alcohol to sort of give it a nice finish, just like I would if I was pouring a new bar. So holding the soap in the hand with the glove on, I'm going to just dip it very quickly into the water, just like that. And then put it back down on my tray and give it a spray with the alcohol. And I'm going to do each bar in turn, just sort of positioning myself. Do not drop the bar of soap into the water. Been there, done that. So just make sure you've got a really good hold on it. I'm also going to make sure that I give my gloves a good wash every now and then so they don't get too slippery, because then you do run the risk of just the bar slipping out of your grasp. And we don't want to leave it too long in the hot water. So I'm going to do this next one. Yes, I have wet the entire bar of soap, but the water is so hot that they actually dry almost immediately. I mean, I'm spraying them with alcohol and that's going to take a while to evaporate too, but it really doesn't take them long to dry at all because the water is really, really hot. And that's also why it's important to use that really hot water as well. You can see how beautiful and shiny they are. That's how they're going to look when you use them in the bath or shower as well. They go even more clear when they're wet, and they're just so pretty. All those little sort of facets that we've carved into them, inside them, really start to show up and look lovely when they're wet. And that's what you want. You want a bar of soap that's really fun to use, not just fun to look at and sit there on the table, but something that's fun to use in the shower. That's what I like to do with them. All right, look at that one. That's beautiful and shiny. Okay, so that was a very simple process, but what it did was that it sealed up all the holes that I'd pierced, and it's just going to make our bars look a little bit more presentable.